And the measles, rubella and tetanus immunization exercise that is set to kick off today will be the largest ever event to be held in the country, where 19 million children between the ages of 9 months and 14 years will be immunized. Now, the exercise will take place in all public health facilities as well as identified churches and schools in the country, since the vaccines need to be stored under certain conditions. For more on this, we are joined by Dr. Collins Tabu, who is the head of immunization policy and performance monitoring at the Ministry of Health, and Honorable Fatuma Yusuf Abdullahi, the immunization champion in Wajir County. And you can join the conversation using the hashtag #PowerBreakfast, and the SMS number is 22422. Kiriko?
All right, thank you very much, Willis, for that. Like you've had, we have Dr. Collins Tabu together with Fatuma Yusuf Abdullahi. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's considered one of the biggest immunization campaigns in the country. I guess the first question would be, why the sudden interest, for lack of a better word, for the immunization program? Maybe we can start with you, Dr. Tabu.
Thank you, Kerego, for this opportunity. I wouldn't say it's a sudden interest. It's imperative that we control and eliminate some of these diseases. And probably just to take you back from where we're coming from, we're losing sight of the benefits of immunization. I'll take you back to the 1980s when immunization was first introduced in this country. It was for the privileged. It was probably in the best centers.
Yes.
But over time, the government concentrated on strengthening immunization service delivery. We concentrated on bringing much more numbers on board and protecting every other child. The concept of universal child coverage. We probably have done that before we achieve universal health coverage. So having gotten to the 80% coverage and struggling to maintain it there, then we have had a global shift now to look beyond having to protect everybody to eliminating and eradicating some of the diseases that we could through immunization. As I speak today, we eliminated smallpox because of immunization. We are looking towards eliminating polio. We've not had a case in about 3 years in this country, and more than a year in the whole world. And we're looking at eliminating measles, rubella and neonatal tetanus. So it is that last mile that we must push to be sure that these diseases are not with us and that we focus on other health issues, as it were.
All right. Let me ask, because you're the champion in Wajir County, has there been an improvement in the number of people who are getting immunized, or has there been a control in the number of people who are getting, these conditions?
Yes, if I may say, from the stage where it started, actually there's a big improvement. For actually the people in the rural area had a perception that the immunization has some virus, as per some institutions were explained.
Yes.
But now, since we came to the ground, I'm one of the survivors of actual preventable diseases, and I gave a case study of myself and what is the challenges someone can face, and then the child is actually in the mercy of the parent. And from that stage, and then a real person with a disability because of a preventable disease, the perception now is gradually actually improving from the negative actually to the positive. A big percentage actually.
Okay, so there's been a positive response.
Very big.
To the campaign. There's the tetanus, rubella, measles program. Those are three conditions, diseases. Which goes first then, or are you going to do it together?
We're doing it together, and the reason is not that they must come together, but we really want to achieve a bit of efficiency and utilize the little resources we have to have a bigger health impact. We don't want to look at that child in isolation, come with measles, then go back, then spend some more money, come with rubella, then go back and come look for the mother later on with a TT. We want to be able to achieve much more in terms of reaching out to these children, to these mothers, with all the three vaccines at the same time. And we're focusing again in the areas at risk. Not every person in the country is going to get tetanus vaccine. We're looking at the areas that are much more at risk, that report the highest number of cases. These are areas that have poor health service delivery indicators. These are places that most mothers deliver at home. These are places where we have more tetanus reported in terms of our systems and all that. So for the tetanus vaccine, we're focusing it in those 11 counties. They have reduced from about 24 to 11 in the last about 3 years.
And let me ask, now because there's tetanus, rubella, measles, and I could be at home saying, well, my child got a rubella shot, so I don't see the need to go out for this shot, you know. Is it important for them to consider coming for this? Because, like I said, my child got rubella vaccine a while back, so why should I bother going for this?
It is very important that you get this shot, even though your child might have gotten your vaccine before. And for instance, we are giving rubella now for the first time ever in Kenya. We have been giving a measles only vaccine. So your child might have gotten the measles vaccine, but if you don't bring them, they'll miss the benefit of the rubella component of the new vaccine that we are introducing. So you must bring them. Number two, not all children that are vaccinated develop the immunity that they do need. A small proportion, about 15%, do not immediately develop immunity, and this is because of other factors. Maybe they have some concurrent illnesses, maybe they have homa at that time, maybe they have nutrition problems, maybe they have other issues that make the immunity not respond to the vaccine at that time. So, but you'll never get to know if your child was among those that then their body did not respond well. So they might have gotten that shot, but might be among the small 15% that did not pick up the immunity. So we aim to utilize every other opportunity to be able to vaccinate. The more the number of times the child is vaccinated, the more the chances and opportunity for protection, as opposed to just receiving one dose. That's why we come back many times.
Okay.
Thank you.
11 counties, you said, that's where the program, you know, is going to be focused on. So how many?
TT only.
For TT only.
Measles and rubella is the whole country.
Okay, measles and rubella. Okay, so how many children are you targeting then?
We're targeting the children between the age of 9 months to 14 years of age.
Okay.
Yeah.
And roughly that's about how many?
19 million.
About 19
about
million.
half the country.
Yes. Yes. So from 9 to 14. There's also a big focus on women
14 to
and children.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain to us why.
Maybe the doctor can explain.
Okay. Doctor, you can explain to us why.
The focus on women and children. First of all, let me go on the children first, then I'll come back to the women. Like I said, we're introducing a new vaccine, which is the rubella, and it's being delivered together with our traditional measles vaccine. Over time, as we have vaccinated against measles, the number of cases have reduced, but the number of rubella cases have remained high. Actually, of the about 1,600 measles cases that were reported last year, about half of them are rubella. Most of these cases are below 15 years, safe to say 9 months to 15 years. So that's our target age group. But number two, the biggest objective as to why we are introducing the rubella vaccine is that we do hope to prevent what we call congenital rubella syndrome later on in life of these children.
Okay.
Congenital rubella syndrome causes children to be born with abnormalities. You've seen families where all the children are born blind with cataracts. You've heard about children requiring heart surgery. We have the Matahattan and many other initiatives. But what we do forget is that most of these children actually as a result of rubella infection causing them to be born with birth defects. You've seen children born without the skull or the brain being too little. Some of it may be associated with Zika virus, could be potentially and much more rubella virus. So we seek to prevent a lot more of that. In this country we have about 1 child born like that every year. So for us to be able to do that, we must quickly boost the population immunity. To achieve a high level of population immunity at one go, then we introduce the rubella vaccine into routine immunization, just to assure that going forward, the whole of that generation and the generations that come then would not have that kind of a problem. But then we move on to the mothers. So that's the link, that the children will be born and they'll be safe. The other biggest killer of children, and call it the silent killer of children in our times, is that we have tetanus. People can get tetanus, you as an adult can get tetanus, and you'll be treated and you will get well. But if a mother was to get tetanus during delivery and that neonate was to get tetanus during delivery, that neonate or child will almost 100% die, even in the best of facilities. The Nairobi hospitals and Aga Khan's notwithstanding. Survival rate with treatment is just about 30%. Without treatment, you are 100% sure to die. We have had stories where mothers come, you know, they expect and you deliver, and within the first 1 week a child is gone. and you don't know exactly what happened. Most of those, about 50%, are due to what we call neonatal tetanus.
Okay.
We want to spare these mothers the pain and agony of having to carry a pregnancy for 9 months, prepare for this child, actually get to see a child live, only to lose them in the first 1 or 2, 3 weeks of the delivery. It's very painful. So that is the link, and that's what we're working hard to protect.
Okay. So another thing, another question people might be asking, is this free? Do I have to pay? Where do I need to go?
Yeah, actually it is free of charge, and the rubella and measles, the health facilities, all dispensaries in the country, is actually the nurses are there, and actually the qualified nurses are the ones who, this time is an injection and the vitamin F oral drops. And the child, actually, all facilities in health centers and maybe identified centers by the Ministry of Health.
Okay.
Also, and they charge us to give the vaccine or the injection is fuel a qualified personnel and medical nurse.
Okay. So what am I looking for? All I need is to go and ask, have you been authorized to give out this particular vaccination?
No, you don't need that. Actually, they're different. They're specified because they're either wearing a badge or an apron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's important to clarify that. There is the issue of resistance to vaccines, Dr. Tabu. We've seen various religious sects come and say we don't believe in that. There is the issue of belief systems. There's also been in recent time documents that come and say vaccines really don't help your children. They actually kind of just mess up with the child's immune system. I want to hear, one, your thoughts, and two, how you're going to be able to ensure, that you're able to counteract the resistance that you meet.
Yes, thank you for that question. I want to say we have not quite had resistance. Rather, we have had what we call hesitancy.
Okay.
That people are hesitant to quickly just take it on, because the same communities, when we reach out to them, we explain our things to them, educate them, reach out to the opinion leaders, they turn around and they appreciate this. Vaccination is an interesting area. One of the things, unlike curative services, where you take on a product today, you are well, you're not sick, but you're taking a vaccine to prevent a problem that would probably happen several years down the line.
Yes.
So the benefits are not immediately apparent, and the failure, the lack of this illness, or the failure to suffer this illness, may not be apparent to you even later on in life. But look back at where we have come from in terms of immunization. In the past, and Honorable Fatuma here will tell you, we had all these rehabilitation centers, people being born, and all these schools, missionaries, vehicles going around the villages, getting children that have been afflicted by polio, collecting them to specific rehabilitation centers, educating them from there, carrying them from there, taking them back in the village, for 1 week to see their parents because the stigma was too high. All that was due to polio. How many other diseases cause such things? We have people who are deaf because of measles. We have people who are blind because of measles. We have people who have been born with heart defects because of rubella and many other things. We have seen the benefits of immunization with polio. You hardly see any rehabilitation centers. The rehabilitation centers that were there now are turning back to look much more at reconstructive surgery, cleft lips, cleft palate, heart surgery, and many other things, which is good for us. That's one of the benefits of immunization. Number two, we're looking at the reduction in the number of deaths. So the benefits are immense, but it's not immediately apparent to the communities. So when they don't see these, they forget that you can actually be afflicted by this problem. So we're working hard to really highlight it out to the communities and moving a step further to really show them that we can get rid of these diseases.
Okay. Honorable, maybe as we come to the end, you can tell us how long this program is going to take?
Yeah, actually, this program started today.
Yes, starts today.
Today, and actually starting from today, which is 16th to 24th of this month.
Okay.
And actually, that is 9 days. The other thing I want to add on, actually, the issue of the church and the religious leaders. I want to show you the photo of my Kadi of Wajir County, actually with the senator, the goodwill ambassador, on actually propagating. The institutions are different. Yes, we have churches in Wajir County, but they are not opposing. But the question is, now there's a circulation on the issue of the social media about the churches writing a letter secretly telling the institutions not to accept it, and actually it's not verified, it's not ascertained, something like that. So I want to ask, as a myself, I'm a polio survivor, and I'm also was brought up in a missionary, Catholic particularly, and in a rehab center. Like in my own life, I have been in the center,
yes,
where I call it home. But now we want to go out of that. For me, I don't feel like comfortable as the member of the champion in Wajir or the whole country to see another child because of the negligence of either institution. Or because if you can prevent this disease, what is the interest of having a rehab? That's the question I want to ask the church. The Muslim community are not opposing, but the church, not all the churches are, particularly the Catholics.
There's a particular sect that...
The particular sect is actually opposing. And I'm also happy that they didn't come, and actually this letter is actually, for me, is a contempt of court, because this case of the church and the Ministry of Health issue of vaccines is in court. And it's actually forbidden, it's wrong to discuss something into something wrong. So I'm asking the churches, because I've been brought up in the missionary, I know how it feels like not staying with your parent, and the stigma somebody face when you are disabled, the parent see you as a burden. So I'm asking, no need of having, these missionaries will support the rehab centers. Why couldn't they support this vaccine to make sure there's no child with disability?
Yeah, I get you. All right, thank you very much for joining us. The Tetanus, Rubella, Measles program, vaccination program starts today for the next 9 days till the 24th of May, and it's available countrywide, and it is free. All you need to do is go to a dispensary and you look for someone who's wearing a badge.
We'll also come to market and places, schools, places that have a lot of populations. There'll also be health workers moving around. They'll not come to your houses though, but they'll be placed strategically so that people don't have to travel far.
The only plea I have is the hard to reach areas.
The hard to reach areas
have to move emphasis actually to bring the child to the nearest, because the team will travel with a big vehicle. Sometimes the road may not be passable because of the shrub trees, because there's no road to go to the area. So I'm pleading with anybody in this area who can watch or see wherever we are to actually propagate and advocate for the hard to reach area, to give the right the child he or she deserves. Because this is the right time. If you miss it, it's going to be a lost opportunity for us and the world.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you all the best. We now head over to Willis Raburu, who's with our girls this morning, the Nairobi Girls Chorale, to find out more about them.